Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it may be, where you're at. Thank you for making me and the KSO a part of your day. My name is Kyler Durham, content creator, host of the Not Your Normal Podcast, host of the Academy of Conspiracy, host of this podcast, Kai's Sports Opinion, also a member of iFilm Cinema Production. We are on episode 2 of Kai's Sports Opinion. Today is lost a day. Today is June 6th, recording this on a Saturday. This is your Monday episode. I'm going to address it right out of the gates. When you hear this, there is a UFC fight that already happened. I already have topics for this podcast, so we all know that Amanda Nunes is going to win. Aaron's off camera laughing. We all know that Amanda Nunes is going to win. There's not much more to say about the UFC right now. I will get back to the UFC at the end of this podcast, though. But I want to start off this episode today. This morning, I'm in the shower. I'm thinking of how am I going to start today's podcast. And so I go on The Herd, which, a lot of people don't like The Herd, but I do. So when Doug Gottlieb fills in for The Herd, if you don't listen to our other podcast right here, the Not Your Normal Podcast, I start every episode with "What up?" Welcome in to another episode about welcome back to another episode of the Not Your Normal Podcast. And I stole that from Doug Gottlieb. And when he fills in for Colin Cowherd on The Herd, his is "What up? Welcome in." And I think the not necessarily the smartest people, but the most innovative people in the world, they don't use their own ideas. They don't. Everyone in radio tries to copy Howard Stern because he was successful, right? That makes sense. Everyone wanted to try and copy Microsoft when it comes to technology. Very, very early. Apple started doing Apple making technology. Now you got Android. All these different companies are now making technology similar to what Microsoft started. You steal ideas. Even in sports. In sports, we steal other teams' playbooks, other teams' plays. Hell, other teams' players in free agency. So if you steal something once, it's plagiarism. It is. If you steal something one time, it's plagiarism. If you steal something twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, content, ideas, whatever, it's not plagiarism anymore. Everybody does it, and I think it's kind of cool that you can bounce ideas. I was inspired by someone else. No, you stole it. And, I give Doug Gottlieb credit all the time. Hey, I took your intro. He took that intro from another radio station from like the 80s. So he took it, I took it, and I'm about to take one of his topics because I heard him talking about this on the Friday episode of The Herd. If you don't listen to The Herd, they're not affiliation, go listen to them. I like the podcast. I'm going to steal a topic from Doug Gottlieb because I felt the same way, and when I wrote this topic the other day, I already knew this is kind of where I was going. Then I heard him talk about it. But I'm going to put my own little spin on his topic. So I'm going to go back to Apple real fast, then I'll actually start the podcast about sports. There is technology. Technology moves faster than most things. So once the new phone comes out, it ages in like 6 months or a year because the iPhone 10 is coming out, then the iPhone 11, then the iPhone 12. And the iPhone 13. So all this technology ages quickly. I remember when I had an iPod Shuffle. That aged in like a year and a half. Because then I got an iPhone that had an iPod on it. So no point for me to carry 2 iPods. Just put all my music on that iPod. Milk. Milk ages in like 2 weeks. Gone. It's gone. I'm getting somewhere with this. The NBA is back, baby. Woo! Let's get excited for the NBA. We haven't had sports in long time. We've had NASCAR, which I'm not even a huge NASCAR fan. Checked out a little bit of Darlington. Checked out a little bit of that race. I'll kind of watch UFC. I enjoy highlights more than anything else. I was tuned into some UFC, and like I said, I'm recording this Saturday afternoonish. I'm gonna watch the Amanda Nunes fight. I like UFC, but there's not a lot on. So me being a diehard sports fan, I should be pumped up. The NBA is back. Awesome. So the NBA issued a whatever. They had the players association or whatever to vote or the NBA teams to vote on this proposal, and 29 of the 30 teams said yes. Only team that didn't was the Portland Trail Blazers, which, I mean, they weren't even really in the playoffs anyway, so I guess. So the NBA will return Friday, July 31st. Cool. We have sports in a little less than 2 months. We got the NBA back in a little less than 2 months. That's awesome. I'm so excited. The NBA Finals, if there's a Game 7, will be Monday, October 12th. The problem with that, the NBA is targeting a start date of July 31st, according to multiple sources. This is from sportingnews.com. The latest possible date for a Game 7 of the NBA Finals is October 12th per Woj. If you don't know who Adrian Wojnarowski is, okay. Offering the potential for an NBA-NFL doubleheader with Week 5 of Monday Night Football. So every team has to play in the same location because of the coronavirus. All games will be held at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. You get to go to Disney World. Awesome. Teams will begin training at their own sites in July, then relocate to Orlando for full camps later in the month. So the NBA and the NBA Players Association agreed that it'll be a 22-team formats, which will include 16 teams in playoff position based on the current standings and 6 additional teams within 6 games of the number 8 seed in their respective conference. Those last 6 teams are the Kings, the Pelicans, the Spurs, the Suns, the Trailblazers, the Wizards. The teams that were in, I'm just going to read off the standings. So in the East, you got the Bucks, the Raptors, the Celtics, the Heat, the Pacers, the Sixers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Orlando Magic as the 8 seed, and then the Washington Wizards at 9. They're going to get to play in. Western Conference has more teams. They're going to have 13 teams. They have the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies at 8. Then they're going to have the Portland Trail Blazers, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Phoenix Suns. So they'll all play 8 exhibition games. Then the best 8 from each conference go in the playoffs. Now they're playoff. So you're probably confused why I'm not excited about this and why I brought up how things age really badly. That's 2 months away. I saw a video, literally, I heard Doug Gottlieb say it, so I had to go look. I saw a video on YouTube of Trae Young, went to the University of Oklahoma. He is back in Oklahoma playing in an adult basketball league. This was like a week ago. The stands at this adult basketball game are packed. Shoulder to shoulder, stands packed, no one's wearing masks. I go out in public. A third of the population, maybe, I'm being generous, wearing masks. The only people that have to wear a mask are workers. When I go to work, I have to wear a mask because they make me. I take the virus seriously, but if I didn't have to wear a mask, I'm going to be honest, I probably would not. So in 2 months from now, what are we looking at? Because I think in 2 months, things are going to be a little bit different. I think things will be a little more back to normal in 2 months. I think if they would have proposed this a month ago and it started right now, like we start the 8 games within the next couple of days, maybe next weekend, and it goes into the beginning of football season, maybe like the first week of the NFL is the last game of the finals or something like that, that makes sense. I'm cool with that because you're being proactive. You're literally jumping on it, getting it done. We got to get sports back. We got to get the NBA Finals taken care of. The NBA was a little kind of like a delay reaction. And Adam Silver, I think Adam Silver's a great commissioner, but I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all because first, you're going to be competing with the king of sports, that being the NFL and college football. You're not going to win. You're not. Let's be honest. What are Americans going to watch? They're going to watch playoff basketball? Or are they going to watch college football in the NFL? Because ratings don't lie. Baseball does it every year, gets their asses kicked. U.S. Open does it every year, gets their asses kicked. I mean, it doesn't matter. College football and the NFL are king. So first, you're competing with that. Second, here's something I haven't even got about, or I haven't even got to. They get to play in Disney World. Dream come true. Everybody wants to go to Disney World. When I was 15, really had never been on any vacations in my entire life. I'd been to like Six Flags and like Ranger games and stuff like that, but I'd never like gone anywhere. I'd flown on a plane one time, and it was from DFW to San Antonio, like a 20, 30-minute flight. So when I'm 15, my mom, my stepdad, my brother, and my stepsister, her 2 kids, and her ex-husband, was her husband at the time, we all fly to Orlando. We're going to be there for, I think, 8 or 9 days. We get to go to the Magical Kingdom, Epcot, all this stuff. I was so excited. I'm 15. I want to go to Disney World. I've always wanted to go. Awesome. Day 6, about everybody except my nieces, who were 8 and 5 at the time, 4 at the time. Everybody else is ready to go home. Everybody else is ready to go home. Because you don't want to be, cooped up in it was a nice hotel room. Nicest hotel room I've ever been in my life. Because it's the only vacation, and my mom and my stepdad sold out. Like, let's go. We're going to splurge. We're going on a nice vacation. And we went to Disney World. And by day 6, day 7, we're all kind of ready to go home. What I'm getting at here is they're going to be in Orlando for almost 3 months. And they are basically going to be quarantined for almost 3 months. Yeah, they get to stay in villas, really, really nice hotels. Yeah, that's cool. But then you're in the same hotel or the same area as the other teams. You and the other teams are going to get to go to Disney World because you get to go in there. Apparently they're going to get like free, almost free access. Like they get to go in whenever they want, hang out at Disney World. That's cool. And you got no fans in the stands. How serious do you think teams like the Phoenix Suns, who don't even need to be there, or teams like the Sacramento Kings, how serious do you think they're going to be? And how I've seen LeBron James get distracted. I've seen LeBron James on the court distracted, and it's a home game. So LeBron was at home with his family the night before. He wasn't away from his family for over a month and a half. So how distracted do you think these players are going to be? How competitive and how entertaining do you think these games are going to be? Then you take the fan element out of it. Guys like, I'm just going to use Draymond Green for an example. Guys like Draymond Green, they feed off the crowd. That's what gets them going. Pascal Siakam, who's going to be in the playoffs. He, for the Toronto Raptors, he feeds off the crowd. That's where he gets his boost of energy from. That's where he gets that second win in the fourth quarter. And when Zion for the Pelicans, in a game that doesn't matter anymore because they've lost their first 3, throws down a ridiculous fast break jam, it's not the same. Because there's nobody jumping out of their seats. There's nobody, I like that we're getting basketball back. I'm not saying that. I'll watch every single game until the NFL starts. And I love basketball. And the games aren't going to feel the same. UFC fights don't feel the same. They're still entertaining to watch. They just don't feel the same. So what makes you think that a sport that is deprived off of athletes getting that momentum from the crowd? UFC, the crowd gives you a little momentum, but not a lot. You getting hit in the face probably gives you momentum. In the NBA, when you have that fast break, pull it back like you're LeBron and throw it down, and the crowd just explodes, that is what gives you the momentum. And then you're in your city. You get to stay there for 2 or 3 days before you got to fly back to the other team's city for 1 or 2 games. You get to stay home with your family. Mom cooks you dinner. Your wife, your girlfriend, you get to be with your kids. Now you're in Orlando for 3 months. You get to go to Disney World. That gets boring in a week. Disney World's cool. Disney World's awesome. If you can go. I think that this was Adam Silver in the NBA trying to be reactive, and it was a delayed reaction instead of being proactive. Because I don't think things are – I really, really, really don't. With the way that things have been progressing within the last month, I don't see things being shut down at the end of July. I really don't. We're all allowed to go back to work now. Our president has kind of made that point known that we all get to go back to work. So things are open. I've been back to work for over a month. So things are opening back up. So July 31st, I mean, you're only hurting yourself. I think the NBA needs to pump the brakes on this. I think the NBA needs to take a closer look on this, and they need to figure out something. I don't have an answer for it. I'm just saying I don't like this. I don't think this is the best idea the NBA's had. So that's my 15-minute rant about the NBA. I'm going to stay in the NBA real quick. So with the playoffs coming up, with this whole format coming up, we start July 31st. Kevin Durant tore his Achilles in the NBA Finals last year against the Toronto Raptors. So it's been almost a year to the day since the injury. And with the NBA being shut down for 3 months, you would think that some of these injured players are going to come back to the playoffs, which the NBA, Adam Silver, has approved that. Like, hey, if you've been injured and you're on the IR, if you're healthy now and your team's playing, if you're one of the 22 teams, you're good. You can play. And I've heard Doug Gottlieb on the Herd talking about it, which thank you for the topic, Doug. I appreciate it. Love when you're on the Herd. But they're talking about how, yeah, I think Kevin Durant's going to come back. I think Kevin Durant this, I think Kevin Durant that, all this stuff. Folks, Kevin Durant's not coming back. Kevin Durant's not coming back. He did an interview maybe last night or yesterday, I'm not really sure. But they asked him, let me find it real quick here. He was asked, do you plan to play for the Nets in Orlando, or is your season over? And Kevin Durant, there's guys that kind of like have an open-ended answer. You know what I mean? There's an open-ended question. They have an open-ended answer, like, kind of leave a little bit of speculation. Hey, I'm not sure yet. Might come back. Who knows? You might see me. So you don't know if they're coming back or not. Durant didn't do this. Verbatim, he says, my season is over. I don't plan on playing at all. We decided last summer when it first happened that I was just going to wait until the following seasons. I had no plans of playing at all this season. The next question was, do you have any urges to play? Is waiting best for your process? He responds, it's just best for me to wait. I don't think I'm ready to play that type of intensity right now in the next month. It gives me more time to get ready for next season and the rest of my career. I heard a story. I've kind of dogged Kevin Durant a lot. I've talked a lot of crap about Kevin Durant because of the whole Golden State thing and kind of being on Twitter and burner accounts and stuff. I think sometimes Kevin Durant's very immature. I understand why Kevin Durant went to Golden State. I get it. I mean, ring chase, call it whatever you want. You want to win. He wants to win. I get it. Everybody wants to win. I understand people's opinions about it too because I had a strong one. I think sometimes Kevin Durant's immature. This is a lot of maturity right here. I like how he's not going to be a prisoner of the moment and go, let's win a championship. Let's take this team. We're the 7th seed. Let's beat the Raptors. Let's roll in the playoffs. Let's go. No. Re-tear that Achilles. You're not playing again. You're done. I think, and I heard a story about in Kevin Durant's, I believe it was his second year, when the Seattle Supersonics became the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it was Scott Brooks, the coach. It was Scott Brooks' first or second year. He's now the coach of the Washington Wizards. They lose in the first round to the Los Angeles Lakers. And they do the exit meetings the next day. And Kevin Durant goes in with Scott Brooks. And, he tells Scott Brooks along the lines of, I'm disappointed, I still want to play. And Scott Brooks tells him, hey, you need to go out of the country, go somewhere else, take about a week, 2-3 weeks off. Don't touch basketball. Take some time off. So Durant said, okay. So Durant flies. I don't remember the country. I read this the other day. I don't remember the country. He flies out of the country. Oh, no. He doesn't fly out of the country. He flies home to D.C. The next day he's going to fly out of the country. But he flies home to Washington, D.C. And Scott Brooks texts him, no answer. 2-3 hours later, no answer. Calls him, no answer. Calls him, no answer. Finally, he calls him. Kevin Durant answers. And Scott Brooks said that Kevin's panting very heavily and that he can hear the court. And he says, hey, man, what are you doing? And Kevin goes, just getting some shots up and stuff. Scott Brooks said, man, what'd I tell you? Take some time off. And Kevin told him, I can't, coach. I can't. A person that loves the game that much, that literally, season's done. I can go take a vacation. I can go hang out in Venice. I can go to Italy. Go anywhere in the world. No, I'm going home and playing basketball with my buds from high school or college or whatever. I'm going home to play basketball. That's the same guy that's saying, no. We had a plan here that I wasn't coming back this year, regardless of what happened. I'm going to value this time because I got the rest of my career ahead of me. And that is maturity that I can't recall seeing from Kevin Durant ever. And I hope that next year, just for the league's sake, I hope next year that Kevin Durant has a very great season and Brooklyn makes some noise in the playoffs. And this decision by him to not play in this revamp of the league works out for him. I wish the best for Kevin Durant. I hope Kevin Durant gets another championship in Brooklyn. That'd be cool. We don't see a lot of rings, a lot of championship parades in Brooklyn. So I think it'd be kind of cool. I want to roll over into an NFL topic here, and when I say the name, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna be very safe for the podcast's sake, for iFilm Cinema's sake. I have an opinion about this situation, but I've kind of learned, especially with what happened here, I kind of learned that maybe it's best that you let your actions speak louder than words and I almost dropped a hard F-bomb. Just shut up. Just keep your mouth shut and just do works. Just help other people. And when people see that you're helping the people that need that help, you can't mess that up. I think, and it's a huge flaw that I have in my life, is I try to help as many people as I can. That's not the flaw. I try to help people. I want to be good to people. I want to be a good person. Then my mouth opens. And I say something and it invalidates anything that I've done because I opened my mouth. In the city of New Orleans, Drew Brees has done a lot of great things. Drew Brees is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. I think Drew Brees, obviously absolutely first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't go top 10 quarterbacks of all time without saying Drew Brees' name. That being said, which Yahoo Finance did an interview with him. Dude, no athlete ever again is doing an interview with Yahoo Finance. Good job, Yahoo. I think as a company, you need to be smart as well. Maybe we don't air this interview because it's going to make us look bad too. I know it's news and it's polarizing and captivative. That's not always the best thing. Sometimes the best thing is to go, let's scrap that. Not a good look. So Yahoo Finance, Yahoo whatever, good luck getting some athletes for the next 3-4 months. You're not getting an interview from anybody. But Yahoo Finance interviews Drew Brees, and this was a couple days ago. I think maybe the 3rd or the 4th of June, sometime last week. But they interview Drew Brees. And the interviewer, I'm going to read the whole transcript of the interview, just the one question and the answer. The interviewer says, everyone is looking back now at Kaepernick's protests from a few years ago. And obviously they were always about police brutality. And now it's coming back to the fore. And a lot of people expect that we will see players kneeling again, if and when the NFL season starts. I'm curious, how do you think the NFL will and should respond to that? And of course, you're such a leader in the league. What is your responsibility as a team leader in times like these for the rest of your teammates and players in the league? Now, you asked me that question. First off, I'm not just saying this because it's the correct answer. No, my honest answer would be there's a lot of injustice and inequality that's going on in our world. And being one of the leaders of my team, I want every single player, not only in my locker room, but in all the locker rooms in the NFL, despite their race, despite their religion, despite their sexual orientation, any of that. I want them to feel comfortable with me, and I want them to know that I support them and that I always have their back. And even if the world hates what they're doing, I'm in their corner. That's your answer. That's my answer. Is I'm supporting the men that I work with every single day. I'm supporting the men that are on the field with me, the men and women that are in the press box, the men and women that are coaching our team, the men and women that are officiating this game, the men and women in the stands, cheerleaders, mascot, everybody. I'm supporting everyone that I am involved with because I'm human, they're human. We're born the same, we die the same, we bleed the same. We're all the same. And it would be not a leadership quality of me to not show support. Here's Drew Brees' answer, which when I read it, it's kind of like, I get where you're coming from, dude, but I don't. Anyway, Drew Brees says, well, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. Let me just tell you what I see or what I feel when the national anthem is played and when I look at that flag, or when I look at the flag of the United States. I envision my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one of the Marine Corps, both risking their lives to protect our country and try to make our country and this world a better place. So every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at that flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. And in many cases, it brings me to tears thinking about all that has been sacrificed, not just those in the military, but for that matter, those throughout the civil rights movements of the 60s and everyone, and all that has been endured by so many people up until this point. And is everything right with our country right now? No, it's not. We still have a long way to go. But I think what you do by standing there and showing respect to the flag with your hand over your heart, it shows unity. It shows that we are all in this together, we can all do better, and then we are all part of this solution. I like the ending part of his answer. Talking about unity, talking about everyone being the resolution, talking about that our country's not right. We got some problems. I will never agree with anyone disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. I do like that Drew Brees wants to show a sense of patriotism. He wants to show that he is defending his country. That's great. But, Drew, it's just not a good look. And then, of course, athletes responded. Malcolm Jenkins had a long video, like on Instagram and Twitter, saying that he could never, view Drew the same way. And guys like Michael Thomas and Marquise Colston talked about it. LeBron James had a comment about it. But, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But you got to be careful about how you word your opinion, because when you use the word never, it's a pretty strong word. So, but next day, Drew Brees apologized. And a lot of people dogged his apology too. I liked his apology. I thought it was heartfelt. He said, I would like to apologize to my friends, teammates, the city of New Orleans, the black community, NFL community, and anyone I hurt with my comments yesterday. In speaking with some of you, it breaks my heart to know the pain I have caused. When asked about, his words, he said, or his comments, he said, they lacked awareness and any type of compassion or empathy. Instead, those words have become divisive and hurtful and have misled people into believing that somehow I am an enemy. This could not be further from the truth, and it is not an accurate reflection of my heart or my character. And then he said he's always been an ally, never an enemy. I think Drew just did this thing that a lot of us have done. We just haven't done it on camera, where you say something in the moment, and then when you go back and you rethink about the conversation. I know for a fact I've done it. It's like, man, that is not a good moment for me. I should not have said that. My heart was in the right place, but that came out bad. I think that's what that was. I don't think Drew Brees was trying to harm anyone, or Drew Brees was trying to offend anyone. I think Drew Brees was taking a patriotic stance on it, and it just came off wrong. But I don't think Drew's ignorant. I think Drew understands what the Colin Kaepernick protests were about. It wasn't about the flag. It's not about it's not about that. It's about, I'm not going to show support for something that doesn't support me. I'm not going to show support for a country that lets police brutality. These things happen. that Colin Kaepernick was standing for. Drew's not, like I said, Drew's not ignorant. Drew knows what the protest was about. He just kind of took a patriotic stance because of his military background. And that's when you get into what you got into. And then I like that some athletes don't hold their tongue. That's what I like about LeBron. LeBron, he's more than an athlete. He's not going to, like they said, shut up and dribble. And he's not going to do all that stuff. He has a platform. He's going to use it to do what he believes in. And, I mean, him responding, I love it. Didn't really like Michael Jenkins' video, but that's just my opinion. But Richard Sherman responded. I have a lot of respect for Richard Sherman. I think Richard Sherman's a very smart man. But, yeah. I think Drew just had a little oopsie. I think it'll be okay. Drew's fine. New Orleans, they'll support him. The NFL will support him. His teammates will support him. He just slipped up and said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Lacked empathy. And, I mean, I've lacked empathy to my family, the people that I love the most. So, it happens. But I'm not completely dismissing it either. You need to be more aware, especially if you have a platform, which I think me and Aaron and our group, kind of with what's been going on, we've tried to be more aware of what we say and how we say things because of how, we're never meaning things in ill intention, but it could come off that way, just like Drew Brees' comments did. So, but, that stuff, I think we're all looking for a story sometimes. And that was a story. I'm not disagreeing with that, but, So, I got another topic here. And it's kind of still goes with what's going on in the world. And it's very, very short. But it's just something I wanted to touch on real fast. So, Michael Jordan, the second greatest basketball player of all time behind LeBron James, Michael Jordan and Jordan Brand pledge $100 million to racial equality and education initiatives. Hold on. Jesus. They are dedicated to ensuring racial equality, social justice, and greater access to education. So they're going to pledge $100 million over 10 years, which it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's not really even about the money. It's about the statement that you're making, showing that, we know there's stuff going on. We're going to show support for it. And I don't really want to harp on that very long. I just want to say Michael Jordan does a lot of good things. Michael Jordan's always done a lot of good things for different communities he's been involved with, just different people that he's been involved with. So it's a class act by a classy guy. That's all I got to say. So, I got a couple more. I'm gonna make this one a little bit shorter than the first one. I don't think I need to I don't think I need to drag these out for an hour and a half. Especially not right now. There's only so much in football and basketball and baseball and sports world to talk about. So I'm in the car last night and I'm listening to music. And I'm not really sure why I thought about this. But I thought about just different NFL quarterbacks in my life. I'm thinking about, whenever Tony Romo and Donovan McNabb would match up in Week 17. Usually Donovan McNabb got the best of Tony, but they were great matchups. Whenever Tom Brady and Peyton would match up in the playoffs. Amazing. It was great. Then I start thinking, well, who are some quarterbacks that were like, oh, dude, that dude's awesome, but underachieved, really bad. Not to say really bad, but just underachieved from what we expected. And I'm thinking through quarterbacks during my life. And, of course, there's people, what about Ryan Leaf? Well, yeah, he's a second overall pick. He played at Washington State. Fantastic in college. Teams couldn't decide, do we draft Peyton Manning? Do we draft Ryan Leaf? Colts took Manning at 1. Chargers took Ryan Leaf at 2. The rest is history. Another guy that I thought underachieved a little bit was Donovan McNabb. I just brought him up. Donovan McNabb, underachieved. I'm not really sure why. Michael Vick, underachieved because of prison. because of dogfights and decisions that he made that kind of cut his career short right in his prime, and he was able to come back, but he wasn't quite in his prime anymore. But that's not what I'm getting at here. I want to get at great quarterbacks who are going to be in the Hall of Fame that still underachieved. And I'm excited for the first one because Aaron's sitting right next to me. He's going to roll his eyes, and I cannot wait. Better take those earpods out, little man. I see you better take those headphones out, little man. The first great quarterback of my lifetime that I think is underachieved is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a 2-time MVP. Aaron Rodgers is a Super Bowl champion. Aaron Rodgers has been to 8 Pro Bowls. 2-time first-team All-Pro. A second-team All-Pro 1 year. The Press Athlete of the Year in 2011. He's led the NFL in passer rating 2 times. He's led the NFL in passing touchdowns 2016. He was on the All-Decade team. Holds the NFL record for the highest career passer rating, the highest passer rating in a season, the highest touchdown to interception ratio, the lowest interception percentage for a career, the lowest interception percentage for a season in 2018, and he's got the record for 402 consecutive passes without an interception. You're probably thinking, Kyler, how the hell is Aaron Rodgers underachieved? Aaron Rodgers is underachieved because of the way that Aaron Rodgers is. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't a jerk for the most part of his career, we would probably say, yeah, man, the guy's got a Super Bowl. The guy's won 2 MVPs. Most guys don't even get Super Bowls. Most guys don't get MVPs at all. So, dude's got 2. People call you the greatest quarterback of all time. People say that Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre, which I agree. I concur. That's true. He is better than Brett Favre. People make arguments that Aaron Rodgers is still to this day a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Maybe. I mean, I could probably name 5 better right now off the top of my head. But I think even with the accolades, even with the amazing, amazing records, I think Aaron Rodgers has left some stuff on the table. I really, really do. To be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and to have kind of the cast that he had early on around him with Greg Jennings, and now he's had Devontae Adams, and he had Jimmy Graham, and he had, I think his tight end's name was Finley, who was pretty good. He had a good offensive line. He always had a formidable defense in the very beginning of the decade, of the 2010s, 2010, 11, and 12, 13, when he won that Super Bowl in that time frame. They had a great defense. I just feel like he left a lot on the table, and I think him being hard to play with and him being stories coming out of him being the way that he is, it makes it easy for me to say that he's underachieved. Because during this same time frame, I mean, Tom Brady's won multiple Super Bowls. I mean, if you want to be the greatest of all time, you can't let the other guy that's quote-unquote named as the greatest of all time win those Super Bowls. You got to win them. You can't let him win that MVP. You got to win it. So I think with how Aaron Rodgers' career started, about 2012, 2013 at that time, we all expected 3, 4, 5 MVPs, 3 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowls, 10-time All-Pro. One of the absolute undisputed, be like, yeah, this dude's top 3 quarterback of all time. Which that's a high ask. I'm saying he underachieved being a top 3 quarterback of all time. That's what I'm saying, which is insane. That's the talent the dude had. I mean, this talent the dude still has. He's 36. He's still got 2-3 years left. He wants to play till he's 40. He can win a Super Bowl this year. I don't know. So I think Aaron Rodgers is slightly underachieved. I think Aaron Rodgers could do a little bit more. That's all I'm getting at there. The second one, I love this one because I mouthed about him on the Not Your Normal podcast a while back. A guy, in my opinion, that's extremely underachieved in his career. Great NFL quarterback, remember. A great NFL quarterback, Hall of Famer, that is still underachieved. Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger can't get out of his own damn way. Ben Roethlisberger does a show every single week on a Pittsburgh radio station. I've listened to it. It's not good. He throws teammates under the bus. Everybody wants to blame Antonio Brown for the whole Pittsburgh stuff. Ben Roethlisberger didn't help. He did not help. And Big Ben wants to ride his Harley at night dangerously and get into an accident, and wants to do questionable things off the field. Had a sexual allegation against him. I don't know if it's true or false, so I'm not going to say that it is true or false. I don't know, but it's still not a great look. And then it's known that Ben Roethlisberger does not work out in the offseason. I mean, I've said it on the Not Normal podcast. Ben Roethlisberger's off-season workout is, I'll do some yoga, I'll go eat a cheeseburger with a large fry and a large Coke, I'll do some Pilates, and I'll go home, grab some potato chips, get another Coke, get a beer. I grab me a bowl of cereal, get another beer, and I'll go to bed. The dude doesn't work out. The dude doesn't take the game seriously. He's just uber talented. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. But I'm saying all this about a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a 6-time Pro Bowler. He led the NFL 2 times in passing yards. He was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2004. Made the All-Rookie team. His Miami Redhawks jersey's retired. He was a freshman year in college. I mean, he's got accolades. Like, he's done a lot of charitable work off the field. Like, he's not a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying any of that stuff. He's currently ranked 6th all time in career passing yards and 9th in passer rating. I mean, he's on those lists of a great NFL quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl his second year in the NFL with Jerome Bettis, with Hines Ward. He's had a Pittsburgh Steelers defense from 2005 up to 2000, whenever they lost to the Packers. Was it 2011 or something like that? Or 2010, I'm sorry, 2010. And then even in 2011 when they beat the Arizona Cardinals and Ben Roethlisberger won his 2nd Super Bowl, they had an amazing defense. Like, he didn't even have to do that much. He was almost in I'm not saying he's like Trent Dilfer, but he was almost in a Trent Dilfer role his first 8 years in the NFL. It's like, if you make great plays, awesome, we love it. But don't make mistakes. Don't be the guy that loses us the game. Our defense isn't going to lose us the game. Our coaching staff's not going to lose us the game. You're the guy that will lose us the game. Make smart plays. If you make a great play, you have a great game, awesome. That's awesome, but we don't need you to, because we got the pieces around you to make sure. And that was the first 8-9 years of his career. Not his fault that he's in a good situation. But he's really done, since 2011 when they won the Super Bowl, that was 9 years ago. What has he done besides be injured and throw a lot of picks? I mean, what has he done? Pittsburgh underachieves every single year. They do. Beating the first round of the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, very similar. They've got this amazing legacy. They're one of the best franchises in NFL history. And in the last 10 years, not much to really speak of. And Ben Roethlisberger's a part of that problem. I think Ben Roethlisberger's left stuff on the table as well. I think Ben Roethlisberger doesn't find football to be the number one important thing in his life, which it might not be, that's fine. That's fine. He's still a Hall of Famer. He's still first ballot Hall of Famer. You put him in. He's on lists. He's on leaderboards. He's won Super Bowls. So the last one I want to talk about is Phillip Rivers. He was drafted, 2004? Yeah, he was drafted in 2004. He was drafted by the Giants, and the Chargers actually drafted Eli Manning. And Eli's agent said that he wasn't going to play for the Chargers, so they trade those two guys. So Phillip Rivers will now start for the Indianapolis Colts this year. It's the first year that he's ever not played for the Chargers. He's 38. He's been in the league 16 years or something like that. He's been in the league a long time. He's a journeyman. He's been to 8 Pro Bowls. It's amazing. NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2013, NFL Passing Yards Leader in 2010, Touchdown Leader in 2008, Passer Rating Leader in 2008. He was on the San Diego Chargers 50th anniversary team. A lot of stuff in college, a lot of accolades. Dude's thrown almost 400 touchdowns in his NFL career. Like, he's a Hall of Famer, but he's one of the guys that I was talking about that doesn't have a Super Bowl. And that in sports, that can haunt you. Not having a Super Bowl can haunt you. And when you got LT one year breaking Emmitt Smith's record easily for most rushing touchdowns in a season, and you win 14 games, you go 14-2, and then you get punked in the playoffs, you get destroyed, and you're seen as a choker. That's kind of what Philip Rivers' career has been, is I got great moments. I've got a big arm. I'll sling the ball. I'm like Brett Favre almost. I will launch the football. I will put passes in windows that nobody else even thinks about throwing. But when it comes to the big game, I don't show up. And some guys, like I've said on multiple podcasts, some guys have it and some guys don't. Some guys in games. Some guys lose the game. And I feel like Philip Rivers has been a guy that has, for most of his career, been the guy that's lost the game. The guy that never really, he gets you there, he gets you to the top of the mountain, almost to the top. And then an avalanche happens and it all comes crumbling down. And you don't quite get there, but you get so close. You can taste victory, but you don't get there. I feel like that's Philip Rivers. I like Philip Rivers too. Philip Rivers, I would love if the Dallas Cowboys had Philip Rivers as their quarterback the last 15 years. That'd be awesome. I'd love if they had been Roethlisberger the last 15 years. That'd be awesome. I would be tickled pink if they had Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, 4 years. I would love that. They're all Hall of Famers, but they've all underachieved in some way. They have. Aaron's left stuff on the table. Big Ben's just lazy, so he left stuff on the table. Big Ben should have won another Super Bowl. Big Ben should have done a lot of things. Aaron should have won some more MVPs. But he's not a good teammate. Guys don't want to go to Green Bay anyway. Don't want to go when Aaron's there either. Aaron's an ass. Big Ben, kind of a prick too, and doesn't want to work hard. Philip Rivers just can't finish. You got LT, Vincent Jackson, Antonio Gates, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You got Sean Merriman on the defensive end. You got Junior Seau. They had a stacked team. I think one of their corners was Quentin Jammer, who was very good. They were very, very good for a little spree from about 2000, maybe 2006, 2005, 2006 to about 2009. They were very, very good. Like a juggernaut in the NFL. Always ran into the Colts and the Patriots and Pittsburgh and nothing to show for it. So, I think I'm going to wrap this one up today right at about 50 minutes. I want to keep this one under an hour. I'm going to try and keep these under an hour for about the first 20, 30 episodes. Then I'll get back up to an hour 15, hour 30 when the interest seems to, grow steadily in. But I'm going to end every episode the same way. There's a podcast. Like I said, when you steal stuff, you give credit. There's a podcast called the Strong Opinion Sports Podcast by Zach Scholmer. Go listen to that. It's very good. If you like this at all, you'll love that. It's better. I'm going to be honest. His podcast is better. He's great. I love him. His brother committed suicide many years ago. And at the end of every single one of Zach's episodes, he addresses suicide. And I do kind of the same thing, but mine's a different topic that has to do a little bit with suicide. And thank you, Zach, for giving me this idea, and I did it in the first one. If you or someone that you know is severely depressed, don't do nothing about it. Because, I've had moments, I've had situational depression about moments, and it sucks. It's really, really bad. Doesn't matter what happens. It's like a cloud is always over you, and it sucks. And if you're depressed or you know somebody that's depressed, don't do nothing. Doing nothing is making a choice. Get help, or help the person that needs the help. There's plenty of people in all of our lives that are willing to listen to us and willing to help us. Your family, I hope will help you. Your friends, I hope will help you. If you're in a school, if you're at, if you're in a high school or a junior high, or you go to college or whatever, they have counselors that's their job, is to sit down and talk to you and help you. And if you don't have any of that, if you have nobody that you can talk to, call the suicide hotline. They talk to people that have depression, because depression leads to suicide. And that's never the answer. And you don't want to be a statistic. You don't want to be a suicide statistic for the year of whatever year that you do that. You don't want to do that, because you leave behind a broken family, broken friends, and for what? So if you know someone that's depressed, or you are depressed yourself, please get help. Don't do nothing, because doing nothing is making a choice, and it's the worst choice that you can make. So, well, thank you for listening. My name is Kyler Durham. Thank you for making this a part of your day. iFilm Cinemas has a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/NYNP, we got 3 tiers in the Patreon. We got the average tier, which is $5, the spooky tier in honor of our conspiracy podcast, the Academy of Conspiracy, which is $6, and the normal tier, which is $7. Don't be an average spooky person. Be normal. And right now, because of COVID-19 and because of the kind of what's going on in our country, all of our profits from our Patreon subscribers goes to Feeding America. So we take the money that you give us and we give it to the charity. So also, we've got a little bit of merch left, NYNP merch. Go to iFilmCinemas.com, or iFilm Cinemas Production? iFilmCinemas.com. Which one? Oh, okay. Go to Aaron's sitting off camera. Go to iFilmCinemas.com and go get the limited amount of merch. When I say limited, I'm talking like 8 shirts left total. So if you want to pick those up, go there. Go check out the Not Your Normal Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts. Go check out the Academy of Conspiracy, and I will see you on episode 3. Thanks for listening. Dion's the GOAT.